It's time for the news. It's Watch News Weekly, ladies and gentlemen. And let's start with a little bit of celebrities. Let's start with Taylor Swift. You know, somebody that could have pretty much any watch she wants, right? And she made some interesting choices lately. Kansas City Chiefs were playing the Denver Broncos this weekend, and she wore a Louis Vuitton newly revamped tambour. This was launched in 2023. The collection is a slimmer take on the early LV watch line from 2002, has been updated with an integrated bracelet in the mode of Gerald Genta and features movements from La Fabrique des Temps. I personally am a fan of that watch. I'm a fan of what La Fabrique des Temps has been doing as of late for LVMH. They're moving in the right directions. This, I believe, is going to be the first breakout where a fashion company or fashion house becomes a real watch powerhouse. Good looking watch, not too flashy. I don't know if Taylor Swift has anything to do with LVMH or LV. Not sure why she was wearing it, but cool choice. Jake Paul. Of course, the buzz is tonight. I'm filming this video on Friday. Tonight is the boxing match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. And of course, what did he wear? Something discreet. I.e. the billionaire from Jacob & Co., the Ashoka diamond timepiece, $7 million one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Now, Jacob has made a few of these billionaire pieces, but each one of them is one of a kind because no diamond is the same. Almost 37 carats of diamonds. The crown is set with a triangular rose-cut diamond, and the strap or the bracelet is encrusted with 252 Ashoka cut diamonds, equaling another staggering 150 and change carats. So all in all, this watch has almost 200 carats. It is powered by their manual wound movement. It's a skeleton tourbillon movement, and it has a 72-hour power reserve, but who cares setting the time on that watch, because you know what, with all that shine, you're not going to see. I'm a fan of that watch ever since, I believe, Floyd Mayweather, I think, was one of the first ones to get that watch. And I'm actually a fan of bling, so if you want the ultimate bling, I don't think it gets any bigger or better than the billionaire watch from Jacob. After all, he is the king of bling. And of course, Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg has been in all the news. All of a sudden, the guy decided to get away from being super modest and actually start spending money on, I don't want to downplay Timex and Casios and things of that nature, but start spending money on more expensive watches, on, you know, watches that bring forth not just functionality, but also high horology and history. And why am I not surprised to see Mark Zuckerberg wearing the new Cubitus in platinum, the moon phase? Retail price $88,000, seen in the market over $200,000 already. And again, he literally went overnight from having no watches to building a sizable collection. Oh, so everybody says. In reality, we don't really know. Mark could have had a ton of watches dating back 10 years, and he just hasn't been showing it to the world, keeping sort of that low-key profile. But as of late, you would assume that he definitely caught the horology bug. Richard Mille, the Eridon Tourbillon. Now, this has been something that has been produced in the past. This is the 02 version. And this one, they went with the Caribbean blue kind of hued quartz TPT construction, right? It's the TPT and titanium, and you can perfectly see the tourbillon. You can also see the torque indicator and the power reserve, which is 70 hours, I believe. Then, of course, there's the crown integrated function selector, which allows you to choose the various modes and setups. If you go back to Richard Mille, specifically Richard Mille 002, when the gear selector was developed by Renault and Papy, where you had a push button that would go, you know, from neutral to wind to set the time, right? Something you also saw in the first Alacrate concept from Audemars Piguet. That was the first time they showed it, because again, that all came from the same Renault and Papy, which is now owned by AP. Of course, the difference now is the older Richard Mille, along with APs, the gear selector was a separate button that they integrated into the crown, making the watch a bit cleaner, right? And of course, as expected, the retail price is hovering around that $1 million mark. Looking at the watch, the palette is not for everyone, but neither is Richard Mille. I do like the concept of partial TPT, predominantly titanium partial TPT. To me, it works. The yellow hues, the lime green hues on the markers and the blues certainly work. Richard Mille is in the same boat as the billionaire watch. It's flashy. People will know exactly what you have on your wrist. Almost has a toyish feel to it, and you hear a lot of people talk about that. But there's nothing toyish about these timepieces. It literally is a racing machine on your wrist. The 1 millionth Moon Swatch was just sold for 290 times its retail. Now, the Moon's Watch, originally came out in 2022. It was a game changer for Swatch. And some people thought, oh my God, this is bad, oh my God, this is terrible, this is bad for the industry, this is bad for this. No, I've said it from the very beginning. From the very first time they came out with the Moon's watch, I said, this is an amazing thing that Swatch has done. It gave access to those that don't necessarily have the means to buy a real mechanical Omega from Omega. It gave access to people to enter into the watch market at a very reasonable price. Now, I know there was a craze in the beginning, they were selling over list, but at the end of the day, for a couple of $100, you can literally wear an Omega Moon watch in all of its variations. I don't even know how many at this point, right? It's one of those things where it created new watch collectors. I felt it was a help to guys like us. I felt like this was a good way to bring somebody into the watch market as a beginner without breaking the bank, but yet getting that high-end feeling, if you will. So Swatch made this particular Moon's watch a blue mission to Neptune with just a few tweaks, the same year as the initial releases, but held on to the special version until the right moment. Now, the collaborators were betting that the mania for this affordable takes on Omega's famed Speedmaster would be long-lasting, and that bet actually paid off because the Moon's watch went for nearly $80,000 at auction. Mostly standard version with a few special design features, its status as the millionth version ever made is immortalized with an engraving underneath the battery cover, and the watch secondhand is coated in Omega's Moonshine Gold. It also comes with a fancy plaque engraved 1 million. Makes sense. The last record for a Swatch watch, I believe, was in either 86 or 96, don't quote me, where a Swatch watch was a limited edition of 150 pieces, and one of those fetched like $46,000 in auction. So this beat that record. Took nearly 30 years. Blancpain. I don't know how many times I can take on that topic, but they just expanded its ceramic 50 fathoms bath escape line by 50%. Back in June, they launched the first ever all-ceramic version of the 50 fathoms diver. Now this ultra-modern, ultra-tough take on the original dive watch took to the ceramic 50 fathoms bath escape, which already existed, and added a new full ceramic bracelet. To celebrate the launch, the brand also debuted an all-new ceramic bath escape featuring complete calendar and moon phase complications. They added 2 more colorways for the basic 3-hand bath escape in ceramic, as it now matches the complete calendar with green and blue dials. Both new dials color features a sunray finish, looks pretty spectacular when contrasted with their matte black ceramic cases. So we talked about this, and I said, how long is it going to be until Blancpain stops playing catch up, right? Stops monetizing on a model that's damn near 50, 60 years old, or 70 years old. What? The original Aqualung came out when? 1950 something. You got to stop. At some point, you got to regroup and say, you know what, can we go back to the drawing board and start banking on existing models? Do we stay even key and continue catering to our existing clientele, which is dwindling down? I don't remember the last time somebody asked me for a Blancpain, and I'm being real. I last sold Blancpains in line with some of the other brands outside of Rolex probably 15 years ago. Ceramic is old news. Ceramic bracelet is old news. You jump on a bandwagon. In no world is somebody going to say, you know what, I really wanted the ceramic offshore, the ceramic Royal Oak, but I'm going to go with the new Blancpain Bath Escape. You're catering to the same exact clientele that's slowly but surely dying out, and you're losing the crowd. I've said it before, anytime some of these iconic brands, and mind you, this is the oldest brand, 17 something, right? Anytime an iconic brand goes under the wing of a big group and it becomes a numbers thing, they lose sight of what's important, and that is the end user, and mostly new end user, new blood. I don't think these guys are picking up any new blood with this watch. And I'm not saying I don't like the watch. It's cool, nice ceramic bracelet, nice watch. I'm a big fan of the Aqualungs. I get it, I love the green dial. But you're just not heading in the right directions. You gotta give me something new, something exciting, something to rave about, and not something that 10 other major companies have already done and forgotten about. The new Tag Heuer Carrera Centa watch, i.e. Ayrton Senna. They're teaming up with late Formula One's Icons brand to release a special Carrera chronograph. The limited edition timepieces are set to drop later this year to coincide with the release of Centa, a 6-part Netflix miniseries based on the driver's life. Me being into Formula One, I absolutely love this watch. I'm already biased. I already want one, and the reason for that is because Centa was one of the greats who unfortunately died in a car crash. The collab between Tag Heuer goes back to 1994. The first signature timepiece they made was the 6000 Centa limited edition, right? And unfortunately, that was the same year before he tragically died following an accident in San Marino Grand Prix. The agreement to create the watch was reached 2 days before the fatal crash in Imola, Italy. Several references celebrating the driver have been released over the years, including 2 chronograph tourbillons in the Carrera collection in 2018 and 19, I believe. Now, the new watch and some of the details include carbon bezel, inscribed with a tachymeter scale that goes to 400 kilometers an hour, a reworked skeletonized dial that incorporates a checkered flag motif, and a 44 millimeter case back that reveals an image of Centa with a helmet. Now, the watch is expected to launch right about now, sometime in November, because December 4th is when they launch the show. That's the premiere. That's the premiere of Centa. It's limited to 500 pieces and is priced at $43,375. Let's look at the watch. It is a beautiful Tag Heuer Carrera. I mean, again, guys, I'm super biased because of sometimes you get to a point where the person behind the watch or the event behind the watch becomes so special that you overlook price tags, you overlook perhaps some aesthetics, although aesthetically I think they knocked it out of the park with this watch. We talked about Universal Genev making a comeback a little while back, right? Well, it's here, right? Last December, I believe, Breitling announced that it acquired the beloved Universal Genev brand and planned to restore it to its former glory. Now, Universal Genev has all the credentials for a watchmaker that should be a dominant player in 2024. Sexy lineage of chronographs, elegant and distinctly shaped ladies' pieces, foundation model designed by none other than Gerald Centa. Universal Genev is also known as Universal or UG, some people refer it to. It's a historic watchmaker, right? It developed a cult over the last decade and a half. The company was founded back in 1894 and gained its reputation for its inventive chronograph watches. In 1935, the brand moved its headquarters to Geneva, Rue de Rhone, actually, I believe they were in. And they were literally between Rolex and Patek. But in 1989, they were the victim of what? The quartz crisis, right? And they had troubles navigating the waters like some of the other bigger boys. Nobody came to the rescue, no Swatch watch. And guess what? Eventually, they folded. Now, Stellu Holdings then purchased the UG name and unsuccessfully attempted to reboot it in 1994 and 2005 or 6, I don't remember exactly. But the brand has essentially remained dormant for more than 3 decades. And I think with Breitling behind them, I think they will do well. And there's the Universal UG watches, the vintage pieces, they still fly off the shelves. Lots of collectors for them out there. And I know a lot of people are excited for this brand to be reborn once again. Oh, probably one of the most excited pieces of news is Patek Philippe is back with another piece unique, obviously for charity. Whenever a piece unique comes out from Patek Philippe, it raises all the craze. To be fair, if Rolex did the same thing, probably be more of a hype. But I don't know. You guys comment below. You let me think. If Rolex were to do what Patek does for charity and come up with these piece uniques to put in auctions, right? Do you think Rolex would do better than Patek? Comment below, because honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. 5711 in steel, okay? I guess presumably the last time, considering it's been discontinued. This is the reference 5711 1500A, which is a hand-engraved unique piece donated by Patek to be auctioned off November 25th at the Children's Auction Gala. The auction itself was established by a Swiss entrepreneur, Bernard Sobrier, back in the early or mid-90s, right? It's based in Geneva. The foundation is dedicated to making a positive impact on the lives of impoverished children around the world, with over 250,000 helped to date, right? 250,000 children, I'm saying. It's a biannual fundraising event, includes a small selection of auction items to support the foundation project. Sometimes watches are included in the selection of items, like really, really, really important watches. Since 2005, Patek has supported children's auction by offering a unique piece at its auction. Previously donated pieces were the reference 6000T, Calatrava in 07. They did a 5180 special skeleton in 2009, a 5131J World Time. In 2012, they did the 5396T annual calendar, 5524T, Calatrava Polytravel Time in 2018, and the 5270T Perpetual Calendar Chronograph in 2022. All these things mostly being done in skeleton, in stainless steel or titanium, which is something that Patek normally does not produce. All being piece uniques, all fetching stupid money, because where can you go out and find yourself a piece unique? Looking at this watch, it's hand engraved with the Maori inspired motif, which is referencing Maori people in New Zealand. Hand engraving is something that Patek goes back to time and time again for its high complications, you know, and this year's watch stands alone as the first Nautilus or sports watch, which is they're Nautilus. And the first steel watch of any kind from a brand with an engraved case. Most of the engravings were done on precious metals and certainly not on any of their sports watches. They did make the dial unique. It's a dark gray with a hint of brown, right? They gave it a matching pair of cufflinks. And while the dollar color is not officially described, the cufflinks are noted as featuring a charcoal gray sunburst center with black gradient rim. Sounds fancy. I'd love for you guys to comment below your guesses what this thing fetches, and we can look after the auctions and see what happens. Vacheron launched the CPO program, and we talked about this. Since Rolex launched their CPO, which by the way, they weren't the first one. AP launched their certified CPO program a few years back, and it was a bit of a failure, let's say, which is why it's no longer around, right? But why wouldn't all the big boys follow suit after Rolex did theirs? We talked about it, as we say it's going to happen. How successful it's going to be, time will show. Now they're offering used watches, certified and maintained by Vacheron watchmakers, guaranteeing the highest standards of quality, as obviously claimed by as the brand obviously claims, which is no secret, right? You'll get a minimum of a 2-year international warranty, where they will repair, replace any part to be defective free of charge. You get a digital passport, which is unique and holds key information about the timepiece. For example, its ownership history and technical user guide. Obviously, blockchain technology, which is the sexy terminology right now for transparency and traceability, which I see an issue, that privacy issue. Not every client out there wants to give up their information and say, I had this or I had that, et cetera, et cetera. So there's going to be a lot of gaps in that. Guarantee letter, which is a physical document which certifies that the watch has been functionally checked and serviced accordingly, and delivered in a pouch. It delivers in a pouch that bears a dedicated seal, ensuring that the watch has been sold via the CPO program. Again, nothing much different from Rolex selling their CPO watches, or nothing more different than Luxury Bazaar selling their CPO watches. We also guarantee all of our watches. We actually give you a 3-year warranty. We do have certificates, Luxury Bazaar warranty certificates, which are absolutely obsolete because most of the time you get the original papers. The warranty certificate is never looked at as a warranty certificate. It's simply looked at as papers for the watch. Nobody really said, oh, I need that warranty certificate. You say, does the watch have boxing papers? And when you provide a Luxury Bazaar paper, essentially, while that does serve as a warranty card, that doesn't mean if you lose that card, you won't get your warranty, because everything is in the computer, number one. And number two, nobody will ever, if we sell a watch that doesn't have the original box and papers and it comes with our warranty card, nobody in the world will say, oh, that watch comes with papers, because it's coming from Luxury Bazaar. Same as with a service card from Rolex or a service paper from any other brand. We'll simply say watch is naked, but it does have service papers. Reverso, or Jaeger-LeCoultre, or Jaeger, or JLC as we like to call it, because there are many ways to pronounce these things properly. Jaeger-LeCoultre, I believe, is the proper way to do it. Another limited edition update to its Versa Tribute chronograph, which is a pink gold model limited to just 250 pieces. Versa originally dates back to 1931, if you guys don't know, with a swiveling case to withstand the rigors of polo, designed for polo players. So if the ball hit the watch or whatever, something happened to it, the face of the watch would be protected by its outer side, which was made out of subtle metal, right? Top 10 iconic watch of all time, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to design. No brand out there. Yeah, there are some brands that made reversible watches and still do, but when you think of a reversible watch, when you think of Reverso, the only brand you'll ever think of is Jaeger. Engraved laser etched pattern of fine horizontal lines that heighten the watch's geometric is what you're going to see in the front of the dial, giving it an Art Deco look. Dauphine hands, pink gold canvas on the dial, right? Sort of quiet luxury look. If you look at the watch overall, obviously all the bells and whistles in terms of finishes, hand bevel chronograph mechanism with pink gold bridges, elegant Côte de Genev finish, blue chronograph hands, and polished, obviously. It's on a leather strap. For now, I found the British retail, which is 60,5 pounds, so roughly about 80,000 US. So with that said, guys, make sure to answer some of those questions where I asked you to comment, because I do read those comments and I'm curious of your opinion. Other than that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.